All right. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Daniel. We're going to get our live stream going today. I'm with VantagePoint AI. We'll give everybody a chance to get logged in the room, make sure all of our systems are working okay, and you can hear me okay, and you can see my screen all right. Today we're going to be talking about the one stock you have to have now and 3 to avoid. You should be avoiding, should have already avoided. We'll dig into the details there. We'll get everybody logged in and set up and make sure everything is happening as we expect it to. This is a live session. Obviously, we're in YouTube Live. If you haven't subscribed to the VantagePoint AI channel so you can get notified of these sessions before they come up, by all means, click the subscribe button. We've got content, we've got information, we've got forecasts, a lot of details available on our VantagePoint AI channel. You can check out some of those videos. Hey, Isma and Yvette, hello. Warren, glad you're here, thank you. Hey, Renee, nice to see you. See your name at least, right? Juan, hello. This is a live session. I've got my chat pulled up, keeping an eye on that, making sure that if questions come up, I can answer those questions on the fly. We're going to spend our time looking at the forecasts in VantagePoint. We're going to spend our time walking through some market analysis, talking about real stocks, real forecasts, currencies, whatever it is we want to take a look at today, we'll dig into. And don't worry, in this session, you will leave with that one stock and why I believe, I'm not providing trading advice, but why I believe this is a stock to have as part of your portfolio. And we'll walk through the details around that. Before we do that, we'll lay a great baseline for why that's the case and make sure we've got some good information. So if you're in this session right now and you can hear my voice, you can see my screen and our broadcast is working as planned, hop in to the questions box for me. Hop into the questions box, the chat box right there in the YouTube live platform and say hello. Hey, Bill. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Thank you for jumping in there. Always nice to have new people part of our live session. This is for anybody and everybody that's interested in the financial markets. So looks like everything is working as designed. Just do a quick cross check here and then we'll jump off. I've got 11:32 p.m. Eastern time. Looks like we are good to go. Martin, hello. Okay, good. Well, let me share my screen. Let's dive in because one of the key things to today's session is that we get some good content, some good information across for you. Before we do that, let me just really quickly remind everybody that we are going to be talking about trading today. Trading involves risk. You should not be trading with money that you cannot afford to lose. That's why they call it risk capital. Money management is key because there is no perfect solution. That's an important piece of trading. Money management, capital preservation before profits, right? Also, I'm going to share some user experiences. People may be putting things in the chat, and if I'm sharing those experiences with you, I'm just telling you that that's what other people have said. I'm not in any way saying you're going to perform just like them. Heck, their results may be atypical. But I do like to share with you what other people are saying. And we're going to spend all of our time in a simulated environment today as we walk through the details of our technology. And our technology, what I'm talking about is VantagePoint software. And the reason we're going to walk through this today is so that you can understand what it is we're doing and how we're doing it and have some analysis, some information. Everything that I'm covering today is information from an educational standpoint. I am not providing you trading advice, I'm not an advisor, but when you look at a chart like this, we're looking at Tesla right now on the screen, you can't help but look at it and say, okay, what do I need to know about Tesla? Do we have anybody here in the room that is familiar with Tesla or trades Tesla or constantly looks at Tesla? If you are, go to the chat and just let me know that Tesla is one of the stocks that you like to keep an eye on, or maybe it's something that you trade pretty consistently. It's always nice to know that I'm hitting stocks and assets that you are familiar with. Hey, King, Brent. Good. Manuel, looks like we got a lot of people hopping in here. Robert, thank you for jumping into the chat. Good morning. Hello. So when we look at Tesla, let me just do you a favor really quickly, and I'm just going to knock off really quick some of the indicators that are on the screen. All right. And the reason I want to do this is just so we get a good baseline, so you know exactly what you're looking at. Here is just a regular candlestick chart for Tesla. Yeah, Terry says great stock. Thank you for that. What we're looking at is 3 months of data. And you can see this anywhere in any platform and any tool that you have anywhere in the world. It's just a candlestick chart, right? Now I'm looking at it in my VantagePoint software, and just so everybody knows, personally, I've been involved in the VantagePoint software and using it now for over 12 years. I've got over 25 years experience in the markets from a lot of different assets, stocks, options, ETFs, cryptocurrencies. From a mentor, coach standpoint, trading standpoint, I've been where you are for a long time. I've sat in your seat, had the frustrations prior to getting going using this technology we're going to walk through today. But I want to get a good baseline so we're all on the same page. What I have on the chart right now is just a candlestick chart, right? Got the high, low, open, close, just a candlestick chart, nothing fancy. And when you look at this candlestick chart, you can see that there's some very clear trends. You know what? I didn't grab my pen, so give me a second. I'm going to grab my pen really quickly. As you can tell, this is a live session, right? Nothing is scripted here. We're walking through the details as a group. Here we go. So we can tell by looking at this chart very quickly and very easily that there's some movement going on from a Tesla standpoint. We can see that there's a downtrend over here on the left and then an uptrend, downtrend. The question is, could you have known at any point during these trends that there was an opportunity to take advantage of an uptrend or a downtrend, or even right now today saying, hey, what do I do with Tesla? I like the stock. Martin, you said recently I've been having bad results, or maybe Tesla's having bad results. I'm not sure which one it is, but Tesla is one of those stocks that can generate some great profits if you know these reversal points ahead of time. And I don't mean catching the bottom or just catching the top. What I mean is knowing when the reversal is expected so that you can position yourself either to preserve your capital, lock in some gains, or find this as a new opportunity to generate some new gains. And that's what we're going to walk through today. And then I'm going to show you why this is so important. Tesla is one of those stocks. If I said, hey, one of the stocks you should be looking at here in the near future from, a chart standpoint, technical analysis standpoint, especially using the predictive technical analysis in VantagePoint, Tesla. That's the one right there. You guys, I guess I should point this way. The camera's backwards. So Tesla right there. All right, so here's why. If I put the indicators, the first indicator that I like to use and I want to teach everybody to use is this blue line and gray line crossover. Now, you're probably familiar with a 50-day moving average or 20-day moving average. That is not this. This is not that. The blue line is a predicted moving average. And the blue line that I'm using on this chart is a 10-day predicted moving average. So what I'm saying is that if you have a 10-day predicted moving average, there's got to be some information in that moving average to make it predictive. And before I show you why VantagePoint was able to identify this Tesla reversal before they missed earnings, right? Martin says Tesla missed estimates last week. Elon complained about interest rates. Sure, that happened. Absolutely. But Martin, you're going to be very surprised here in a second when I show you how the artificial intelligence picked up on that bearishness days before earnings. The first reason it did that is because that predicted moving average is information that can be found from the artificial intelligence. You see, we have patented technology here at VantagePoint, and for those of you that have never used this before, let me break it down really quickly so we're all on the same page. In the middle of this chart you're seeing on the screen, this is Tesla. And what this is saying is that Tesla is impacted by at least these over 30 markets that are on the screen here. ARC, Autonomous Technology and Robotics, is an ETF. And what the artificial intelligence is saying is that when that ETF moves, it has an influence on Tesla. Stop and think about that for a second. Does that make sense? Total sense. Is it logical? Absolutely. Some of the stocks and markets that influence and drive Tesla make complete sense. But those aren't the markets that only the markets you should be looking at, in my opinion. Right? When you think about the Titanic, for instance, they could see the ice that was above the waterline. It was the ice below the waterline that they couldn't see that, wrecked that ship, that caused that ship to sink, right? If they had technology to see below the waterline, they could have avoided that ice far in advance. That's what we're talking about here. The AI has gone out and looked at Tesla and figured out which markets are influencing Tesla, whether they're international markets like the Japanese yen or the euro, whether it's a stock like Netflix, right, or an ETF like ARK Autonomous Technology and Robotics, or this consumer discretionary spider ETF, or a futures market like natural gas. Some people might say, well, Tesla and natural gas, they probably don't have any interactions or correlations there. The AI that we're looking at is. And I wanted to give you that baseline so that you understand this isn't just coming from my brain. This isn't just coming from something that's new. We've been utilizing this artificial intelligence now since 1991. It's been available to traders like you because it's analyzing and figuring out all of these global markets that drive, influence, and impact Tesla. And then it's going to figure out where Tesla is expected to go. Do me a favor. In the chat box, do you agree with me? And I asked this question many, many times in my career, in my life. Do you agree with me that the markets are global and interconnected, which means one market could have an influence on other markets in some way, shape, or form, domestic and international? If you agree with that thought, that statement, that concept, whatever you want to call it, do me a favor, interact with me in the chat box and just say agree. I think we probably have 100% agreement, because we live in a global economy, right? We trade in a global economy. Those markets that we just looked at that are impacting Tesla have been proven and found by the artificial intelligence, which I think by now you probably realize AI is more powerful than, I don't know, I think they say like, I don't know, 75,000 human brains. I read that somewhere. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But it is so powerful, it can find hidden patterns and relationships in data. We've been providing data to this artificial intelligence. It's been reading live market data since 1987 when our founder, Lewis Mendelson, started utilizing it. In 91, we released it for traders like you. So think about that. That's over 30 years of real-time market data getting pushed to the artificial intelligence so it can learn these patterns and relationships. Now, Tesla goes back, it doesn't go back 30 years, but what the artificial intelligence is able to do, as long as Tesla's in the market, it can figure out those relationships. Yes, those are, Martin, your question is, maybe it wasn't Martin, it was Daniel asked, are these markets impacting Tesla dynamic? Yes, they don't change by the minute or by the day or by the hour, but they are dynamic. They're not just static forever. See, artificial intelligence has the ability to learn and grow and change. There is nobody in the world using artificial intelligence like that. As a matter of fact, I'll put it back on the screen. That information, this analysis is called intermarket analysis, and we hold a patent on that process, right? Because we know that and look, everybody, Chad says yes, agree, says Terry, Martin agrees, Steve agrees, the Zen King agrees, all right? Renee, Vicky, Margie. Oh, Margie's got Tesla. All right, good. I don't know when you had Tesla, Margie, but I think the forecast we're going to talk about in Tesla might have helped you if you've been holding it for a little while. So hopefully you stay in and watch that. Wade, Robert. Okay, so we're all in agreement. All right, good. We have a patent on that technology, and what that technology is designed to do is figure out whether Tesla's going to go up, sideways, or down. And how it figures it out is by using predictive indicators. That blue line, back to that I was showing you, is a predicted moving average, which means all of that intermarket analysis has been done, and then it creates predictive indicators. See, that's the second patent, by the way, that VantagePoint holds here, is that transforming lagging indicators into predictive indicators. These indicators are capable of identifying trend reversals up to 3 days in advance, right? And the first one is that crossover, that blue line crossing over. The other one, I'm going to turn it back on here, is the neural index. This is a strength indicator, and it's this bar at the bottom that's either red or green. And then the other one are these predictive differences. I'll walk you through each one of these, and then I'm going to show you the stock that you want to have in your portfolio, and I'll tell you why. And I'll show you some stocks that you should have been avoiding and should continue avoiding, just as promised. But first, I want to make sure you understand why. Because I'm not thinking about these things just from a general standpoint. I'm not looking at it and saying, that's my opinion. I'm analyzing the artificial intelligence to understand these trading decisions, and hopefully that's something that you would be doing too. Carlene says, just got it yesterday. Okay, good. I like what you're thinking, Carlene. Bill just bought it. I don't know if you just bought it just now. Bill, but Bill just bought Tesla. Okay, good, good. And why I'm saying good is because the time is now. The time was not recently, or wasn't last week or the week before that. And here's why. Right here on this day, on 10/16, you can see that the shaded area between the blue and the gray line went from from green to red. Let me see if I can get my my pen working. For some reason, my pen didn't load. Technology, right? All right, we'll just keep it going. I'll have to scribble on the screen a little bit because my pen just is not loading or working right now. So I'm going to close it and get it out of here. All right, so when we look at this, we can see that the blue line crossed below 10/16. That is the point at which the artificial intelligence is saying that this trend is expected to go down. I'm going to drop a line on that day just so it stays there. There you go. That's the day. That's the day that we've got to consider as the AI saying, okay, this trend's expected to go down. And then you look down here at the neural index and it agrees. It's red. See this neural index right here? This is a strength indicator. And when it is red on the day that you see the blue line cross below, that is saying that there is weakness or bearishness expected over the next couple of days in Tesla. This is a trend forecast of the next couple of days. This is a strength indicator of the next couple of days. And if I follow my cursor down that white line, right, I can see that there are these three lines. These are called predictive differences. These are momentum indicators that are telling me whether or not momentum is building over the next 1, 2, or 3 days in Tesla. Now, again, we're back on 10/16. If I put some trend lines on those and just connect those highs, I can see that going into that day, I certainly have lower highs happening, right? Those lines are pointed down going into that day, which means the AI in VantagePoint, using these predictive indicators and this patented technology that it's been reading and learning for decades and decades and decades, is saying Tesla is expected to go down back on 10/16. That was the day that forecast said, uh-oh, trouble in the water. Now, Martin said it missed the estimates here. That came out and affected the markets 10/19. How many days is that? 16, 17, 18, 19. That's 3-4 days, depending on which days you count. Call it 3 days before those earnings came out. The artificial intelligence in VantagePoint was saying, hey, woohoo, Tesla's expected to go down. Hey, Vicky, thank you for jumping in here and saying hi. I appreciate that. That's what the AI was saying on 10/16. Earnings affected it, 10/19, the market tumbled, Tesla tumbled, and now it's starting to falter from a bearish standpoint to turn bullish. Check that out. Just think about that. Had you had this information, and I'm just going to go from 10/19 to yesterday's close, right? You could have either, if you bought puts, made a ton of money to the downside in a very short amount of time. If you were holding Tesla, you could have staved off a 14% drawdown. Now, these are hypothetical examples, but you can see this is a real forecast on a real stock. For you to trade it, this is 100 shares. Maybe you had one options contract. Maybe you had two options contracts. That's up to you. What I'm showing you here is what the artificial intelligence was indicating about Tesla 3 days before earnings caused Tesla to plummet. It absolutely was a bloodbath from 10/18 to 10/19. You can see it. Well, on 10/16, the AI said, trouble in the water. Think about how powerful that is. Now let's roll through to the current forecast on Tesla. The blue line hasn't crossed, but it's starting to falter. If I go to my short-term crossover, which is a much shorter-term crossover, the AI is saying, hey, this downtrend is somewhat stalled and is starting to increase. Now, it's not saying the trend is expected to be higher just yet, but look, when I say trend, let's define that. Trend is price moving for a few days, 3 to 5 days at a time, right? That's what I mean by trend. 1 day is not a trend. 2 days, not a trend. 3 data points, more like a trend, right? Well, in this situation, we can see that some of these indicators are saying, oh, Tesla is starting to find a bottom here and start to reverse. There's even, look, last night at 6:30, the AI is saying, hey, there's strength building in Tesla. Look at the momentum indicators. They're starting to roll up. They haven't completely turned positive yet, but from a momentum standpoint, this is like a car coming up to a stop sign, right? Slowing down, stops, and then hits the gas to speed away. Not at full speed yet, but it's safe to say that the one-day momentum certainly building and has been building for a few days, indicating bullishness today in price, strength indicating bullishness today in price, and there may be a bullish trend on the horizon for Tesla. How am I going to know that it's not just short-term bullishness and it's actually a bullish trend? Anybody want to take a guess at that answer? The question on the table is, how am I going to know that this isn't just short-term bullishness in price and an actual trend reversal? I know, it's like a pop quiz. I have this horrible habit of teaching something and then quizzing on it right away. I don't know why. I've been teaching traders for decades, and it's one of the things, it's one of the things that really just helps me understand that you're getting it. And I think you're getting it. I think you can see it. Whether you have the software or not, whether you use this technology or not, I think it's easy enough to understand that if strength is building bullishly, momentum is shifting bullishly, there is short-term bullishness expected in price. Heck, look, if you look at this chart right now, you can see that this is a predicted high for Tesla. This little gray bar says that Tesla could go up here in the top left corner. Follow my mouse because my pen's not working. I don't know why. Top left corner, it says predicted high 221.18, right? The high on Tesla today is 220. So it hasn't gotten up there at this point, but it's gotten pretty darn close. And the AI gave that information to you last night. When price crosses the trend line, thank you, Terry, I appreciate your answer, but that's not exactly it. In VantagePoint, it's when the crossover, when the shaded area goes from red to green between these two lines, right? When that shaded area, you can see it's red, 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 not green yet on the one-day prediction on the trend standpoint. But I love you jumping in because that, when price crosses the trend line is something a lot of traders use to try to identify some reversals. And that can help, but it creates a lot of false positives. And it's not using the global market analysis. So thank you for jumping in. It's important that whether it's the right answer or not the right answer, that we're learning together. So let me explain what I mean. If I had a crossover here and it went from red to green, that would tell me that the short-term trend, not just in price, is actually reversing over the next couple of days. That could be happening tonight at 6:30. So what you want to do is open your VantagePoint software so you can get the prediction tonight for tomorrow and for Friday for Tesla. And if you don't have the VantagePoint software and you want to find out how to get this kind of technology, just let us know. Go to the chat. Or, you know what? Better yet, go to VantagePointForecast.com and we can answer your questions one-on-one. But what I want to do tonight at 6:30, and I'm going to be watching this closely, is I want to see this crossover happen. I want to see this crossover happen, and I want to see a new support level build in, because after I get a close today at 6:30, what I should see is some sort of support build in down here around 202. And if you don't know what build support, let me give you just a quick background. It's two candle closes to the left of a low and two candle lows to the left that are higher and two candle lows to the right that are higher. So I need today's close to say this is a new support level at 202.25. If I get that and a crossover, I don't have to think about that. Why? Because the AI has done that analysis, that intermarket analysis on those 30 markets that we looked at for Tesla. So this is one of those stocks that is on the hot list that if I'm not in already, that I'm looking at and saying, you know what? I may leg into this already, may already have legged into it, meaning a portion of my R. If one R for you is $5,000, maybe you use 25% of that to say I'm going to start with 1250, and then when I get the crossover, I'll go to 50% of my R, meaning my risk value, my risk unit. And then once I get a full momentum move, then I go to 100% of R or my full $5,000. That's how you manage money, right? That's a good way to utilize these forecasts and these early indications, but still protect your money. So put Tesla on that list, because I did say that there was a stock to have in your portfolio, but that's not the only one. Look at Gap. Well, let me go to the chat box and just make sure. Hey, there you go, David. Thank you. Back to basics, he said. I'm still learning to trust the system, but loving it. David, you must be a VantagePoint family member. I know I can never tell. I can never tell in YouTube Live, but from your comment, it sounds like you've got the VantagePoint software. You're a user, and I'm glad to hear that you're loving it. Thank you. Tawana said good information. That's why I'm here, to try to help you guys with that. Here's Gap, right? This is another one from a portfolio standpoint I want to be looking at, and here's why. Here's why. Crossover, 1010. Neural index was green. I'm going to drop a line on that day as well, right? I wonder, let me see if I can get another pen working here. Sorry guys, just want to see if I can get my pen working here. It makes it so much easier to draw on the screen. So it's kind of annoying, if I can say that, to not be able to do that. I love to give you the information you're looking for. So yeah, it's just not going to work. All right. Thank you, David. Tesla at this price is a no-brainer, says Daniel. All right, so there you go. Here's Gap, services stock, right? Why am I highlighting Gap? Because at $10.90, let me see, the close was $10.94. At $10.94, the artificial intelligence said Gap has a great bullish opportunity on it. You guys can see that, right? Right there. No question about that. The neural index was green. The predictive differences were pointed higher. We got bullishness all over the place. Yeah, Steve, the 4 points of confirmation. Steve, and I know Steve says the 4 points of confirmation equals success equals profits. I like that. What he's saying is that if the crossover agrees with the neural index, which agrees with the predictive differences, you've got 4 points of confirmation that you can use to say, hey, this trend is expected to move higher, right? It's kind of like, and Steve's probably heard this analogy a million times from me, and I'm sorry, Steve, if you have or anybody else, it's like a doctor, right? Your primary care physician is saying, yeah, your health is looking good. Maybe you've got a cardiologist that agrees, right? And you just had surgery, so your surgeons are in agreement that things are looking good. You're on the uptrend. You're on the uptick. Health is in good shape. That's bullishness for Gap. Well, that was at 1090. Gap closed yesterday at 1241. That's almost $2 from that forecast. But check out the latest forecast on Gap. Look on the right-hand side of the chart. Not only is that blue line still above and the shaded area is green, but the predicted high is saying, oh, you could expect higher highs today. The predicted low is saying you could expect higher lows today. The neural index is saying you can expect strength today. The predictive differences are creating higher lows from that beginning of the trend. Remember, that trend started back here. All of these lines have higher lows from the beginning of that. Let me see if I can get that line. There we go. That's something that we've got to pay attention to. A short term, not necessarily a higher low. Let's see. Nope. But short term has that 1 day strength in it. I've got enough confirmation from those 4 points of confirmation to know that there is bullishness expected to continue in Gap. The ticker is GPS. Go check out. Now, this came out at 6:30 last night, right? The forecast came out at 6:30 last night. Gap is at $13.22. How great would it have been for you to take advantage of Gap and go from $12.90, $10.90, let me drop a line, to go from here to off the chart. 1322 is off the chart. Can we even get it if we go back 6 months? Did we just set a new 52-week high? Absolutely. There you go. It's working its way to that 52-week high. It's got it back here on February 2nd. You can see that. And you can see that it's got a ways to go to 1550. Well, guess what? It's made up a lot of that way already. It's up over $3 since that forecast. Now, stop and think about that for a second. How great would that have been to use these forecasts for that information? Yeah, there's scanners in the software. Absolutely. I'll show that to you. Martin was asking, are there scanners in the software? No doubt about it. There's no reason for you to scan for these opportunities. I'll show you some of those scanners. But before I do that, let me give everybody that one stock that you want to think about right now. And the reason I'm saying that one stock that you want to think about right now, that you got to have as part of your portfolio, in my opinion, not from an advising standpoint, is Tootsie Roll. Why? Tootsie Roll has its own set of intermarkets. They all do. Every forecast in the software has its own set of intermarkets. You can see that on the screen. A lot of stocks. Riot Blockchain influences Tootsie Roll. GameStop. You can see all of that. But guess what? VantagePoint has had Tootsie Roll data since 1999 feeding the artificial intelligence. You can see that. Market data available since January 4th, 1999. It's 2023, folks. That's 24 years that the artificial intelligence has been learning and growing and understanding Tootsie Roll better and better. Why am I saying this is the one to have for the rest of the year? I'll tell you why. First of all, Tootsie Roll is at a 52-week low. Look at that. Yesterday, it set a 52-week low or came down and touched 52-week low, whatever you want to say. It went down to a 52-week low. Steve says Halloween. Captain Solo says Halloween. That's one of the reasons, but this is like a seasonal killer. Why? For 24 years, the artificial intelligence, and let's talk about AI for a second. AI, when you first start using the program, when you first start using an artificial intelligence program, it doesn't matter what it is. Think about it like this. Apple introduced artificial intelligence into the iPhone, right, in 2011. That's when Apple introduced AI into the iPhone. Well, now in year 2023, the AI in Apple has learned so much. Heck, it can tell me when it's time to leave for an invite that I have on my calendar that isn't even in my GPS system. It lets me know far in advance because the AI says, hey, you're still at home. You haven't left yet. That's how far the AI in Apple has come since 2011. The AI in this software has been feeding market data. We're talking about billions and billions of data points through that artificial intelligence since 1991, and in Tootsie Roll specifically since 1999. Well, AI is like a baby, a newborn baby when you first start using it. So all these people that have come to market that started using AI a year ago, 2 years ago, they've got a baby, an infant. The more data you feed it, the more it grows, the smarter it gets. Just like my kids, unfortunately, they're getting smarter and smarter. Not only smart-mouthed, but smarter and smarter because they're taking in more from their environment. AI is the same way. Well, this artificial intelligence has been learning on Tootsie Roll for a long time. It's at a 52-week low, and seasonally, the AI is saying this thing consistently goes up between now and the end of the year. That's 24 years of data. So what would I be looking for? I would be looking for that crossover. I would be looking for that neural index turning green over here on the right-hand side. I would be looking for that information lining up and agreeing so that I know it's time. Do we have that on the chart yet? We have one line that just turned up. So what do I do with Tootsie Roll? I put it on a watch list and I wait for the artificial intelligence to say, okay, seasonally, this thing is a banger. That's a technical term, right? From an artificial intelligence standpoint, what does the AI say? When those two agree, ooh, go Tootsie Roll, go. And it's Tootsie Roll Pops, it's a lot of different things. Sugar Daddies, if you don't know who Tootsie Roll is, then I'm sorry, look it up, but it is a candy company that's been around a long, long time. So if you're not into stocks, then hopefully you're already taking advantage of Bitcoin, because this is the other one. This is a bonus, should be part of your portfolio in my opinion. Right? This is the Bitcoin, and VantagePoint forecasted an increase in Bitcoin going back to the middle of October, October 16th. Look at this. For those of you who don't trade Bitcoin, that's okay. You don't have to do anything with it. But why I'm showing you this is because you had a very, very clear forecast. Look, I'm going to zoom in for you. Right there on that day, 10/16, the AI said, okay, it's time. Everything lined up. Got a crossover. The neural index was green. The predictive differences were pointed up. And boom, look at that move. Look at that move from that crossover to yesterday, 6:30 p.m. into the day. That's an 18% change in price. Well, look, guys, take a look. What did VantagePoint say you could see Bitcoin get up to potentially today? 35,000. I'm going to go pull up Bitcoin. Maybe you've got it up in front of you. I don't know. If you do, then let me know where Bitcoin is right now. I'm going to go pull it up here, Bitcoin, and see if I can. 34,900. The high today on Bitcoin, 35,030. So many people talk about the volatility in cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and things like that. But last night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, VantagePoint said you could see Bitcoin get up to 35,153. It's at $35,030. That's like a secret weapon, right? That's like a secret weapon. Hey, Captain Solo, your question is, I'm new here. Is VantagePoint AI a software program I can buy? Yes, sir, or ma'am, it is. I can't see from your picture, right? But yes, it is a software you can buy. Just reach out to us. Happy to help you do that if that's something you want to do. All right. Bitcoin ETF, GTBC, folks. Bitcoin ETF, right? Grayscale. What is it? Oh, no. Right? It's in here somewhere. ETF, currency, I forgot the name of it. Oh, Bitcoin Investment Trust. There you go. Here's an ETF that follows a track of Bitcoin. Look, I'm going to put the ETF on the bottom, and I'm going to put Bitcoin on the top, and I'm going to zoom in just to give you guys the same view. Here's 2 weeks of Bitcoin on the top, and here's 2 weeks of GBTC on the bottom. GBTC came out of that bearishness sooner, and they both trended up dramatically since then. You can see they're almost carbon copies, right? So if you're looking at this and you can say, hey, is there an opportunity here? Is there an opportunity here for Bitcoin to be traded as an ETF? Yes, you're looking at it, and you can see the move that happened. But regardless, if you're not these four that I've just been talking about, Tesla, Gap, Tootsie Roll, Bitcoin, you're welcome, because from an educational standpoint, you should be able to see how this artificial intelligence is so powerful. Now, what I said in this session is maybe 3 to avoid. Take a look. Google. All right? Look at Google. Why would I look at Google? I'm going to get rid of Bitcoin Investment Trust down here from the bottom so that you can look at Google itself. Right? There we go. What do we see? Red, 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 still red. I can look at my long-term forecast. What do we see? Cross over to the downside. No matter how I slice this, I don't have enough to say Google's expected to go up. As a matter of fact, let's zoom in on this some. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. Look at this. VantagePoint said 10/19 Google was expected to start going down. I don't have everything saying Google's expected to go up. Google just jumped off a cliff, right? You could have known that. You could have known that back on the 19th. OC, Owens Corning. Look at that. Oh, wow. That was 9/13. 9/13, the artificial intelligence. I want everybody to walk through this with me to the downside. On this day, the artificial intelligence, the blue line, it was green in between the two. The blue line crossed below. The neural index was red that day. If you've never used this, this is how you can use it from buying puts or exiting positions or even writing covered calls. Maybe you're an investor in OC and you want to mitigate any losses. All right. You can see bearishness across the board on 9/13. And all you have to do, in case you're confused or you're wondering, all you have to do, if that blue line never crosses back above, I can continue riding that trend down. Terry, remember when you said prices cross the trend line, that's when it goes up? This is why I was saying that creates a lot of false positives. Prices surely cross the trend line here, but the blue line, the artificial intelligence, the patented technology VantagePoint did not. So this is bearishness and not getting head faked by the market to the tune of, what is this? This is a pretty big rundown, almost 12%, 11.5% or so, right? So the question then there is, if that blue line is below and the shaded area is red and things are still looking down into earnings, right? What do I do there? Well, wait for the artificial intelligence to give you the indication of that trend reversal to trade that opportunity, in my opinion. Again, I want to be clear here. I'm not advising you on what to do or how to do it. I want everybody to learn how to utilize and read predictive technical indicators. If everybody out there can read and utilize predictive technical indicators that wants to, you're going to have an edge. You're going to have information that other traders don't have, and you're trading against other traders. So if I can teach whoever shows up to these lives how to use this better, more effectively, more confidently, then that's going to put you in a much better position. The Zen King, how many cryptocurrencies are available through your service that I can monitor? There's over 45 individual cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency pairs. By the way, in case you're asking, over here on the left-hand side, you can see if I open up the cryptos, there are cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency pairs. There's over 45 between the two of them, right? Bitcoin, Dash, Cardano, you can see there's a big list of them here. And then from a cryptocurrency pair standpoint, you can pair trade those to take advantage of a lot of those moves. And there's a ton of them in there. For those of you that are futures traders, you can see there's over 16 individual stock sectors, or excuse me, stock traders, stock option traders. There's 16 individual stock sectors. Thank you for asking that question, the Zen King. ETFs, there's hundreds. Forex, there's 36 individual Forex pairs. So ADP, another one that VantagePoint was saying avoid. Why? What was VantagePoint saying about ADP on 1019? Bearishness. Blue line crossed below. Neural index was red. Predictive differences pointed down. That's what I love about it. I don't have to overcomplicate things. I can use the AI to my advantage the same way, whether I'm looking at Bitcoin was a crypto, whether I'm looking at a cryptocurrency, a stock, whether I'm trading options or the underlying asset or futures. Oh man, you should see some of the moves going on in the futures markets. We'll look at some of those if you want to. Matter of fact, if you want to put in a ticker or something into the chat that you want me to look at, if it's in the VantagePoint software and it can be forecasted with a high degree of accuracy, let me know. And the reason I say that is because we don't forecast for every stock available in the stock market. We have a very high standard for accuracy. For it to be in the software that I'm using here, it's got to be accurate up to 87.4%. And it can't have an accuracy down in the 70s or something like that. Like we don't want that. Anything under 70% really isn't that accurate. So we don't include those. So you're not going to get IPOs and penny stocks. We're talking about real trading, swing trading with accurate forecasts. Anybody can say they forecast the markets. The question you've got to ask anybody that's saying that, I don't care if they're saying they can forecast a week in advance, a month in advance, 21 days in advance. I don't care what they're saying they can forecast. How accurately are they forecasting it? How are they doing the forecast? Do they have any documentation showing the credibility and the history like we're talking about here? Because if ADP on 1019 is forecasted to go down and the neural index is red and the predictive differences are going down, and I know that this software has been working accurately since 1991, and it's documented and it's tested by third parties and it's patented, well, then I know that I can trust my hard-earned money in it, and there's bearishness expected. Well, look what happened the next day on ADP. Sorry, let me slow down a little bit. I get a little excited, as you can tell, because the markets fascinate me, but artificial intelligence on the markets gets me very excited. Look, this is a bearish day, a huge down day after that forecast. That thing dropped almost 2%. Shorting that, heck, just let's say shorting that one contract, going long some puts, substantial gain here to the downside in just one day. That's 1.87%. What is that, a 10%, 20% gain in just one day using options, if that's the way you trade? But look at it since then, down, down, down. Look at it last night. Bearishness. No question that ADP was expected to go lower. Can somebody tell me where ADP is now? Let's see how accurate that forecast was. Just go to the questions box and drop in the price is of ADP right now. Let me see if I can. You might be faster than me. $2.18. I think I might have beat you guys. It's at $2.18 right now. It is off the chart to the downside. Would it have been great to know that it was going to blow through that? Would it have been great to know that there was bearishness on the horizon? I mean, think about that. If you go from the point that it crossed to 218, watch, I'm going to show you guys something. I want to show you this. If I go from the point that it crossed to 218, where it is right now, that is a 12% price change. That is where ADP is right now. And you could have known that there was bearishness coming on 1019 and either protected yourself or profited to the downside, right? Hey, Anthony. Glad you're here, right? Yeah, it very could wait. If you, Captain Solo said, I like AI. It's going to replace financial advisors. I think what it's already doing. You said it's going to. Remember, this software has been available for users like you since 1991. So those of you that have decided to control your money, nobody cares more about your money than you, all right? So those that have decided to make that control and swing trade the markets, short-term trade, anything that goes from a day, couple days to a week or a month, yeah, AI can certainly, in my opinion, this is just my humble opinion, outperform any financial advisor you have. That's my opinion. You might have a different opinion, but remember, I've been utilizing this technology for 12 years, so I've probably got a pretty good basis for that opinion. On ADP, how would you interpret the predictive candle showing a higher high-low last night? I wouldn't interpret that anyway. Here's why. Here's why. When you see this blue line below, that's going to draw my bias every single time. If I combine all of these indicators, I have one indicator saying bearish. If I go to my short-term crossover, I have another indicator. I'm going to put lines on the screen for you because this is a great question, saying bearish. If I go to my 3-day crossover, I have bearish. So I have 3 bearish indicators so far. If I look at my neural index, I've got bearish. If I look at my predictive differences from the beginning of that bearish trend, look, from the beginning of that bearish trend on 1019, this line is down, this line is down, this line is down. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bearish indicators on ADP. If I've got a predicted high that's higher and a predicted low that's higher, that would be 2 bullish. So if I've got 2 bullish indicators compared to 7 bearish indicators, that is about an 85% bullish expectation. Excuse me. That is an 85% bearish expectation. This is answering Walter's question. If I have an 85% bearish expectation based on artificial intelligence that's doing global market analysis, analyzing what's influenced ADP with patented indicators and patented information, can I have confidence in that? You tell me, Walter, if you have an 85% bearish expectation of ADP, would that convince you that bearish is expected, or would you say, you know what, there may be some bullishness here? Would that say mitigate your risk, protect your downside, or would that say invest to the long side? To you. I know what it says to me, but I love your question because you're really thinking about it. You're really digging into the information and thinking about it, Walter. Would that give you what you needed to expect bearishness? That's how I'd interpret it, right? You're welcome. You're very welcome. All right, bearish. Now I see it. Perfect. That's why we're here, right? If you don't ask questions, I don't know where to slow down and where to help you learn. So thank you, Carvana. Big time bearishness from way back here. This came off some highs. Heck, this looks like this could be 52-week highs. I don't know. Yeah, look at that. Came off the 52-week high, retested that high, and then the AI said, here we go on Carvana. That was a month ago, over a month ago, right? Down to yesterday's close, right around there. That's a 36% drop. Well, the AI is still, the blue line is still below, right? I still have bearishness expected on Carvana. If I have still bearishness in that trend expected on Carvana, and I've got a predicted low that could be down to $30.83, well, then I know I've got bearishness still happening from the beginning of this trend till now on almost all the indicators, right? If I go from the beginning of that trend till now and I connect these lines, I've got bearishness. I've got bearishness, right? Everybody should be able to see that where I've got bearishness, slight bearishness there. I've got bearishness on all my momentum indicators, my trend indicators. The only bullishness I see is a neural index. So I have about a 90% bearishness still on Carvana, with the VantagePoint software saying bearish on Carvana expected. I would say with a high degree of accuracy that Carvana would be lower today. Baidu, blue line cross below, neural index, same thing. And I'm now, these are stock, when I said stocks to avoid, we've totally covered Owens, we covered ADP, we covered Carvana. It's not time for them yet, in my opinion. Baidu, not time for Baidu just yet. The blue line has not crossed to say that there is bearishness expected, bullishness expected. Man, need to slow down, huh? The blue line hasn't crossed, which tells me there is no trend reversal expected. Hopefully you guys can see that, right? Let's see. Chef, I jumped in retro. Okay, so we got some tickers in here. See, I was just rambling. All right, let's see. Let me back up. HSY. HSY, is that a ticker? Hershey. All right, here we go. Oh, Steve was talking about Hershey. Same situation, right? Major bearishness. Look how long Hershey has been going down, folks. All the way from 727. This is the long-term 3-day forecast. This is the furthest out you can get from a forecast standpoint. It's been going down, down, down. We're starting to get momentum building. We're starting to get some of the lines crossing, right? That medium term looks like it just crossed, which means a short term may be right there. So we're just, again, watch this. Thank you, Steve. Steve was asking about this. This is where there may be a move coming in Hershey. How much data do we have on Hershey? Let's look. Oop, wrong one. I'm going to go to the market details here for you folks. There you go, 1991, 1999, 25 years of data on Hershey. Okay, thank you. VantagePoint saying, yep, it's potentially coming. We probably have a 52-week low. This looks a lot like, yep, there's a 52-week low getting retested right now as we speak. Bullishness expected, bullishness coming, earnings on the horizon. There's a lot of things happening for Hershey. So right now it's this thing could make its move. Not yet, but it could make its move very, very soon. Thank you for asking for that. Ticker symbols, INM. Can I do NQ? Sure. I think NQ, you had a specific one, NQZ23. All right. NQZ23, there you go. Futures market, for those who don't know, this is the mini NASDAQ, right? Bearish, VantagePoint's been bearish, the mini NASDAQ since 1018. 1018. And a predicted low today, potentially of, what is that? 14,713. 14,713. So that's pretty low. That's a big drop. So certainly the bearishness on the NASDAQ was predicted with VantagePoint on 1018. Who was asking for that? Tim, hopefully that's helpful, my friend. NIO, N-I-O. What has VantagePoint been saying about NIO? Let's look. Bearish, right? Bearish for quite some time. Heck, if I do my 3-day forecast on NIO, it's not time for NIO, and it hasn't been time for NIO just yet, right? Maybe coming. Oh, look at this. Look what's been going on with NIO. Holy cow. Big, huge uptrend. These are two forecasts, folks. You're looking at two forecasts on NIO. The AI said up. Who was asking about NIO? Obi Binny, sorry about that. 66% on that forecast to the bullish side. And then the AI said with the long-term forecast, reversal. What's that song? Reverse, right? That electric slide or something like that. 66% to the upside. A reversal forecast at a long-term prediction. This is the slowest moving prediction we have. And then 44% to the downside. That's 110% gain playing both sides of the market there, right? On a very, very inexpensive stock. So whoever was looking at NIO, VantagePoint is saying there may be some bullishness building. You can see some of the momentum indicators making their move. It's just not quite yet, right? And that's the thing, is that it's not like It's like AI is not like an ATM that's going to go spit out money, right? It's not going to be like a bill counter for you. What it's going to do is going to bring you information so you can make a more confident trade decision. And I think everybody out there, if you ask me, that being more confident, making better trade decisions, that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game, right? So that's one of the things that I want everybody to think about is that when you read this and you look at this and you understand what the AI is really doing, the sheer power behind it, and nobody in the world has this analysis, can it help you? And I think it's safe to say already that even with the stocks you're looking at, this analysis is powerful. NVIDIA, Tawana, let's see. NVIDIA. All right, here we go. We got NVIDIA. We got bearishness on NVIDIA from 1017. A little bit of bullishness working itself in, but that crossover has not crossed yet. This looks a lot. This looks like a lot like some of the other charts we were looking at where you might get head fake, something like Google. Look, let me go to 3 months on Google. Check this out. Almost the same kind of situation, right? There was another one where, was it Baidu? Was it Baidu? I feel like we looked at one that felt very much like NVIDIA. Carvana? No. All right. Well, when you sit back and you think about it, by looking at NVIDIA, oh, the NASDAQ, that's what it was. Well, obviously, right? Look, they're almost cookie cutters. Here's NVIDIA. Here's the NASDAQ. Almost cookie cutters. Not time yet. Not time yet based on the artificial intelligence on both of those assets. And I'm just reading. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just reading what the indicators are saying. Chef Aramark. Let's see. You said you said something about Aramark, didn't you? You said I jumped on retro. Okay, gotcha. The artificial intelligence on Aramark said 1016. There was bullishness expected after this big downtrend. Even from a long-term forecast standpoint, this is again our slowest moving one. There was a little head fake here, which nothing is perfect. Let me just make sure we're all on the same page. Nothing is perfect. Can you get head faked even with AI? Absolutely. But look how infrequently it happens, right? Look how infrequently it happens. That's the name of the game. So we got a crossover confirmed all on 1016. All very clear. Bullish trend on the horizon. Uptrend expected. Little bit of bullishness happening so far. It hasn't made its move yet. Is the artificial intelligence saying that there is a move potential in Aramark? Potentially, yes. But right now it's flat. Right now it's flat. So it's a not yet. More bullish than anything, but still it's flat. Look, I'm going to put on some verified support and resistance zone that show you it is in a channel. All I did here was add an indicator that some of our expert users use that helps you identify the support and resistance levels automatically. And something like Aramark that's going sideways, you can see it's got to break out of this channel, right? The AI is saying there's more bullishness than bearishness, but moreover consolidation, and I needed to break out of that channel. So as you're looking in your VantagePoint software, let me see. If we look, who was that? Chef Frank. I don't know if you have a VantagePoint user or not, if you have the software, but if you're looking at it, we got to make sure that it breaks out of that channel. We got a resistance level up here at 2704, and we got a support level down here at 2524. It's tested that resistance level a couple of times, has not yet tested that support level. So it could bang around like a pinball in between here until the AI finally lines up and says, okay, now we go, and we've broken that support or resistance level. So you can certainly take it to whatever level you need to take it to, right? Good. Yeah, we'll take a look at the scanner here in a second. ZM, soybeans, let's look. Soybean meal, let's look at the front contract. Why don't we look at ZM-Z23? Krish, you were asking over and over again for ZM. Would it have been good to know that ZM-Z23 was expected to go up back on 912? Could you have captured some major gains here? Right, this is a futures market. That's a substantial gain. Even one contract of soybean meal could have produced $4,500 in just that one trend alone. Hypothetical gains here because I don't know where your entry was, Krish, but it's safe to say this AI really, really identified a fantastic bullish opportunity on ZM. And if I drop my cursor on that crossover across the board, you can see bullish, 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 bullish. Oh, from a stock standpoint. All right, we can go zoom to another ZM. ZM is soybean meal for you futures traders, and Zoom is the stock. Here's the medium-term crossover. Here's a long-term crossover. No matter how you slice it, what VantagePoint is saying about Zoom video is bearish. The bearishness happened back here on 9/13, ugly bearishness, and look at that. It's gone down since 9/13. Krish, maybe this is what you were looking for instead of soybean meal. Remember, we forecast for a ton of different assets. So whether it was soybean meal, big bullish trend, or Zoom, big bearish trend, the forecast and VantagePoint were spot on, right? Now, maybe it's not ZOM, it's Zome. Is that what you're saying? I don't, maybe. I've covered all the ZMs we got there, Chris. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Bud, let's see, BUD. Ooh, in a channel. This one's ugly, my friend. David was asking about Bud. Is it bullish? Not quite yet. And what's crazy about Bud is that we're in this channel where we've got some major support and resistance, right? If I go to my short-term crossover, I've got some short-term one-day. Look, the blue line is above right here. If you zoom in on it, I'll show you what I mean. This is the one-day prediction on Bud. There's bullishness back there on a one-day move. Price is strong one day. One-day momentum building. We do not have the medium-term crossover yet. We don't have a trend predicted just yet, just one-day strength. We got a predicted high on Bud up at 53.72. So there's no doubt that Bud could have a nice big day up to the high 53s, maybe even close to 54 based on the strength we're seeing. But until it breaks this level, it's in a channel. Until we get above this verified support and resistance level, until we can get clear of this stuff, it caution's on, right? This is a risk-on scenario. We got to be very careful. We got to be very careful about this. But yeah, short-term bullishness, but not a bullish trend just yet, right? Hey, Krish. You're welcome. Chris, you said you're long in soybeans since the crossover. Did you use VantagePoint to find that crossover? I guess that's the question on the table. I didn't realize it was 12:32. Holy cow, I've been having fun. I've gone longer than I expected to go. Sorry about that. RTO lost big. Oh, Chef, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not sure which ticker that is, but if the ticker is RTO, VantagePoint is not forecasting for that. Remember, we're talking about accurate forecasts. I'll leave you guys with this one thought. The goal isn't to forecast every stock that's available out there. That's not the goal. The goal is to forecast as accurately as possible on as many stocks as you can. I don't care if your accuracy is 52% in a forecast. I don't care. I don't want it. That's a coin flip. Up to 87.4%, 80% accuracy, 79% accuracy. That's accurate, and that's what we're talking about in the software. I appreciate everybody being in today's session and the interaction. I love the opportunity. I love the fact that you give us the opportunity to teach you, to educate you. Hopefully today was a valuable session. If you got questions that didn't get answered in this session, I apologize. I try not to go more than an hour just so it stays, succinct. But if you do have more questions, just go to VantagePointForecast.com and we can answer them one-on-one. Myself, I got a team of people, artificial intelligence experts that are willing to answer your questions, coaches, instructors. We have a full team of people dedicated to helping you in the financial markets. If you'd like that help, let us know. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for letting me give you the view from my vantage point. Have a good day, everybody.